90 minutes of action and drama from the Sky Bet Football League.
We are now 5 games into the season and the leagues are just about starting to take shape.
In the Championship, the top two met. It was Ipswich against Brighton. But which one would stumble?
Derby County and Leeds United have never really been friends. No change there then.
And it's been a great day for 3 former strikers. We'll explain why. And Clinton Morrison has come straight from Exeter's away game at AFC Wimbledon. He's with us alongside, as always, former Brighton defender Adam Virgo to give us the professionals' view this weekend. Now, Clinton, have you and Adam played against each other before?
Not really. I don't think we played quite a lot together, no.
Yeah,
and against each other, no.
But you have played against each other, though, in the past, haven't you, Adam?
Yes, we have, yeah. When he was at
Has he scored against you?
No, he still didn't score.
You think so? I think I did. I don't know. We'll have to look back on that.
Yeah, we'll have a look back. We'll try and get some footage of that, but we think not. We think not.
Plenty more from the guys a bit later on. We're less than 3 days from the transfer deadline day now, so will your club be buying or selling, I wonder, by Tuesday? Burnley have made the biggest move for the second week running. Joey Barton signed a 1-year deal at Turf Moor on Thursday. It turns out Sean Dyche invited Joey round for lunch on Wednesday and it had the desired effect. I knew as soon as I left his house that I wanted to play for Burnley, he said. He's the most impressive guy I've sat in front of for a long, long time. And we asked you yesterday what you thought of this signing, and 66% of you think it is a good piece of business. Well, Barton not involved today, but his new side were up against Bristol City. And Steve Cottrell, who was facing a player he tried to sign in Andre Gray. Dan Mason has the details.
So Barton on board and Gray snatched from under City's noses. Burnley looked like they mean business. But it was the home side that started better here. Bobby Reid forcing a save out of Tom Heaton. But the Robins' fine start was undermined by some familiar defensive frailties. 2 set pieces, giving Burnley 2 goals in 6 minutes. Left-back Ben Mee opened the scoring with his first of the season. He and Michael Keane have a friendly wager about which of the 2 defenders can score the most goals this year. So there was good and bad news for me when Burnley doubled their lead. Keane with his 3rd of the campaign already. With goals for defenders suddenly the fashion, City's Derek Williams thought he'd get in on the act. The post prevented a way back into the game for the Robins. Aidan Flint was the next defender to go close. First denied spectacularly by Heaton, then off target with a follow-up effort. Burnley were to hold their hosts at bay and will go into the international break on the back of 2 straight wins. There was a consolation goal for City. Jonathan Kodjia will claim it, although Burnley's Michael Duff might have got the final touch to this one. But he's one defender that won't want to see his name on the score sheet tonight.
Well, Clinton Morrison is here, of course. Clinton, what do you think about the signing of Joey Barton? What can he bring to a side that are looking to gain promotion?
No, he's a good player. Obviously, all these other antics off the field, you have to forget about them. I think Burnley are signing a quality midfielder. He's got lots of experience. He's played at the highest level. He'll get the team going. He'll wind up other opposition fans. So I think it'll be a good signing for them. He
talks about how impressed he was with Sean Dyche and that there was a real personal touch because he invited him round to his house. How much of a factor is the manager when you decide to sign for somebody?
Yeah, it's a big factor. If the manager wants to sign you and he's inviting you round to his house, he must like you a lot. So that probably was a big decision for obviously him to go to the Burnley Football Club. But Sean Dyche is a good manager. I know a lot of players who played under him, and everyone has a good word to say about him, so he probably sold the club to Joey.
What about Andre Gray, who decided to go to Burnley rather than to Bristol City? What have they got in him?
Well, I don't really know much about him. I had to ask my friend who was playing at Brentford, and he said he's a very good striker. He scores goals. He can miss a lot, but he will put the ball in the back of the net. He's lively. I see Hull made a bid for him. One of my old managers, Steve Bruce, and he's usually good at picking strikers because he signed me once upon a time.
So he's a man of great taste.
So he's a man of great taste. Yeah. So I'm saying, he must have a lot of ability, and I think Bristol City made a bid for him. Yeah. So yeah, he's a good striker, and hopefully it works out for him.
But Bristol City made a bid for him. It didn't happen. Same happened with Dwight Gale, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's starting to look as if something's wrong, even if it isn't.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Could it be the manager? No, I'm only winding you. I don't know, but a lot of the players don't want to go there. Obviously, Dwight Gale turned it down, but you could probably see that because he probably wants to stay up and fight for his place. And Andre Gray, Burnley, Bristol City, I think Burnley have got a great chance of going straight back up. So maybe he chose Burnley and not chose Bristol City. But it is a bit disappointing. I think the Bristol City fans will be wondering why we're not attracting players like that, especially if we're willing to pay $9 million for players.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Cottrell says that maybe finance is a problem, but But as you said, when the transfer fees are that big, then it looks as though that's unlikely. But there are all kinds of factors involved in making those big decisions, George.
Yes, so Burnley have made Andre Gray a £9 million signing. Not to be left behind, Ipswich spent a whopping £8,500 on their new centre-half, Peter Malachik, yesterday. Ipswich went into the weekend actually leading the pack, level on points with Brighton at the top of the Championship. Something to be said for an experienced hand, perhaps, on the tiller. Messrs McCarthy and Houghton have 74 years in the game between them. They played together for the Republic of Ireland, you may recall, too. Well, this game came at the end of what was an emotional week for Brighton. Their goalkeeper, David Stockdale, wore a tribute on his gloves to the two Brighton fans who lost their lives at the Shoreham Air disaster. Your commentator for this one, Ipswich against Brighton, is Paul Walker.
Cleared away by Knudsen. He's got big shoes to fill, of course, with Tyrone Mings having gone to Bournemouth this summer for £8 million. Jonas Knudsen. A big opportunity to shine at left back as it's tossed forward by Bong. It's a good ball as well. It's Lawar. Lawar takes it early! Terrific finish from Kasenga Lawar. Just 9 minutes in. Trademark celebration. Beautifully done. And for the 7th match running this season, Brighton go ahead first. Lawar just too strong for Josh Emmanuel and picks out the bottom corner. Beautiful strike. And it's Ipswich Town 0, Brighton 1. Hamed, Rossignol, who's drifted in from the right-hand side, and now Lawar. So deadly in the kind of positions we've just seen him score from. Just the trip there on Kasenga Lawar. Sent in by Stevens. Hamed is there! Thomas Hamed wheels away in delight. Stevens gets the congratulations as well. But Thomas Hamed might just have got the final touch on its way through. Might get the faintest of touches on this, Thomas Hamed. It's a good leap. He's certainly claiming it. And Gherkin could get nowhere near it. He's furious, the Ipswich goalkeeper. Stevens. He's in that position again, Thomas Hamed. As it's launched forward now to Baldock. Good take, it's Baldock! Oh! Deserved better because the first touch was excellent from Baldock. It's Bong's ball again over the top. Lovely first touch, and that is inches away from making it 3-0 to Brighton. Going up with Sears. He got the full force of that challenge, and it will be yellow for the German. My first real look at this man, and he is a no-nonsense competitor, that is for certain. This is Cole Skews. Lifted over the top, Fraser giving chase. Hudemeyer was there, and Hudemeyer could be in trouble here. On a yellow card already, he's saying straight away he got the ball. Fraser giving chase. The foot was a little high from Hudemeyer. This will give us a better view. I think he did catch the head of Ryan Fraser, didn't he? And Ipswich have a free kick in a good position. Fraser is over it, and boy do they need a goal. It's one from the training ground. Pittman leaves it, shot at goal. Freddie Sears with the strike. Pulled back to the edge neatly from Pittman, and Sears bends it round the post. This is Dale Stevens! Oh, the woodwork! Well, there would have been no doubt about that one. And Dale Stevens smashes the woodwork. Is that a penalty? Lewis Dunk went with him. Well, Keith Hill waves away the protests. Oh, the home fans wanted a penalty there. Dunk comes across. Oh, he handles that, doesn't he? In it goes by Fraser. McGoldrick over his shoulder. Back from McGoldrick. Malachik. Won't count anyway, the whistle had gone. Away by Dunk. McGoldrick hooks it over his shoulder. And you can see in your picture there, probably 2 or 3 Ipswich players offside. This is McGoldrick. Good looking ball, Fraser. Sears peeling off to the right, and that's a lovely ball for Pittman! Oh, he comes back out, Sears! Ipswich back in the game! Started by Fraser, had the presence of mind to find Pittman, who's desperately unlucky, but Sears in the place where it mattered most to halve the deficit. Freddie Sears on target once more for Ipswich Town. Terrific game. Almost has a cup tie feel about it. Lifted over the top, and this is Hemed, who could be in here. It's Tomer Hemed for Brighton. This to restore the 2-goal cushion. He's hit the side netting. Credit Malachik, the Polish defender who slides across, might just have done enough to put him off here and close that angle off. Done. Keeps Ipswich on the ball. Knudsen looking for Fraser. He'll drop for Fraser. Oh, he goes down. Has the referee given it? I think he has, you know. He's given a penalty. The ball leaves him. And Bruno makes some sort of contact. McGoldrick against Stockdale. Who comes out on top? David McGoldrick, that's who. Listen to the roar around Portland Road now. The game looked beyond them at half-time. But McGoldrick finds the bottom corner. And we are all square. Stevens. Now Gordon Greer. Bong. Look at the space he's got here. Loire takes over. Goes the cross, where will it land? Hemed! It's his goal this time for certain! What a game! What a game! Tomer Hemed puts Brighton 3-2 up just a couple of minutes after Ipswich had squared it at 2-2. In goes the cross from Loire. It's a great header. Ipswich Town 2, Brighton 3. Smith. By Greer, Pittman. Now Fraser. It's Ryan Fraser. Oh, he's pulled it wide. With the form that he's been in this season, he would have expected to hit the target from here. Ryan Fraser hit it cleanly enough. Pulls it away from goal.
I touched the ball, but for me it's the same. We took 3 points, very important points, and I'm happy for that.
We're playing against a team who actually played well, and they started well. And it can't always be that we've played badly. Maybe we have to give a bit of credit to Chris and his team, because I thought they did play well in that first half, certainly.
Fantastic game, had just about everything, didn't it, Adam Virgo? Your former club, Brighton.
Yeah.
Unbeaten, are they exceeding expectations at this stage of the season?
Well, I think to the general public, they probably had a better start than what most people think, but the way that they've bought in the transfer market in the summer has been really good. Chris Hughton now playing 4-4-2. They've got Dale Stevens back in, and they've got a player in form in Kazenga Loire. So the way that they've started the season, I'm not surprised myself.
Loire and Hemed between them have scored 6 of their 8 goals. Would that be a concern that other areas need to weigh in, or if they're scoring goals, it doesn't really matter?
Exactly. I mean, I think Chris Hughton would like other players to chip in with the goal, Sam Baldock maybe, but as long as the side's winning and the key players are playing well, I think he'd be happy with that.
Great win for Brighton. Charlton also going well. Played Wolves today. You've been having a look at that one.
It was a very good game today, and Kenny Jackett's side, I think, had to grind out their results today. And against a tough Charlton side that went in there with a 4-4-2 lineup. But as Wolves had the better of the chances, and Afobe here is somebody they have to keep in this transfer window. And it goes out wide to the early playmaker, James Henry, agonisingly close. Maybe could have taken on his left foot to hit it across the goalkeeper. But Wolves started really strongly, and this man again Henry really was instigating everything today. Great ball in there to Edwards, the captain. And they created the better chances. And I think Kenny Jackett would be pleased at the way they've started.
Goal was first half, and then this.
Well, Ventukili came on, and this is what he does. He holds up the ball very, very well. We'll talk about Henry there, going back on his right, Gudmundsson there.
He should be saving that, though,
I think he should be. Close to the goalkeeper, with his weak left foot. Really shouldn't be going underneath him. But this is really, really poor for Kenny Jackett's side. Dicko getting injured.
This is one of those you knew at the time this was a buggy.
And it'll probably take a little bit of time to see how big the injury is. And this was the equaliser here. Again, Ojo come on in the second half and really made a big difference. They get a slice of luck there when it comes back to Edwards. But he's been in fine form all season, and being the captain, he's really leading by example. And this is the winner. Henry spreading the ball out wide. Again, Ojo in plenty of space there. And Lafondra on loan, scoring goals. He's done that all his career.
And off the studs.
Yeah, and it don't really matter how that happens for them, but Kenny Jackett, I think he'll be pleased against the Charlton side. That has started well, and it's very difficult to try and break teams down when they set up like they did away from home. But he'll be pleased about the result, but probably worried about the injury. Well,
we have some news on that, a couple of bits of news, actually, to come out of that game. On Nuwa Dicko, as we saw there, the injury looked pretty serious. The news at the moment is that they're going to wait until next week for it to perhaps settle down. Kenny Jackett will decide then about whether he's going to make a new signing, possibly to replace him if it is long-term. And some other breaking news from Wolves tonight. They've accepted an offer, perhaps no real surprise, from Fulham for defender Richard Stearman, who was left out today, and that is believed to be around about £2 million. So those two bits of breaking news out of that game tonight. Kelly.
There's going to be loads of news like that between now and tea time on Tuesday. Now, Preston recorded one of the more notable wins in the Capital One Cup this week. They knocked out Premier League Watford with a goal from Marnik Vermeil, and here it is. So an impressive win for Preston, although it was against an under-strength Watford who were reduced to 10 men towards the end of that game. But today, they were looking to ride their momentum away at Hull.
There was no doubting the added spring in Preston's step at the KC Stadium. The Lily-Whites' Chris Humphrey was denied a first goal of the season by Alan McGregor. Hull's Abel Hernandez has scored 2 in a week, although he didn't know too much about this one. The Uruguayan international sending Neil Kilkenny's attempted clearance back in the direction in which it came. A moment of good fortune from last summer's £10 million signing. He struggled to look value for money so far. This sort of effort is the thing that Hull's fans are more accustomed to seeing. This was Preston's biggest test of the league season so far. On another day, they might have taken something from the game. The key moment came in the second half when Alan Brown failed to hit the target. Soon afterwards, Curtis Davis showed him how it's done. A net buster that secured Hull a third league win out of 5.
With the end of a transfer window in sight, team sheets always make interesting reading. Charlie Austin was in the thick of the action for QPR at Huddersfield, as was their other hot property, Matt Phillips, whose pacey cross was almost turned into his own net by Tommy Smith. Otherwise, not much to trouble the keepers. Huddersfield enjoyed plenty of possession in the second half, and Ishmael Miller's attempt to open the scoring started well, but finished badly. Last week, Chris Powell's side conceded late to let victory slip at Fulham, a habit they'll have to kick. This time, just 6 minutes remained when QPR snatched all the points. Charan Sherry continuing his seamless introduction to English football. 3 goals in the last 2 league games for the Dutchman, and a third successive league win for his club. MK Dons were happy with their first half performance against Birmingham. All it lacked was a goal. Samir Carruthers rippling the side netting to get the home fans excited just for a fraction of a second. Gary Rowett wasn't enjoying it, though. The angriest I've been at half-time, said the Birmingham boss. And his players responded. Clayton Donaldson teeing up Stephen Gleeson, who clearly doesn't buy into the idea of refusing to celebrate against your old club. 2 in 2 league games for the former MK Dons midfielder. And now Birmingham were on their way, they'd take some stopping. Jonathan Ground setting Donaldson off on the counter-attack. And he picked his moment to release substitute Jacques Magoma. Rowett's men are unbeaten in all competitions, and the manager felt the second half may well have been the best they've played so far. Clinical, his description, though David Davis did let the Dons off the hook when the match was already won.
Birmingham City remain unbeaten. You used to play for them amongst other clubs, Clint. So what should they be achieving this season?
Well, they had a difficult season last season, but I think Gary Wright's come in and done a terrific job, but I'm saying they should finish in the top 10. Got some talented players there. So they can keep hold of Damari Gray, he's a talented youngster, and then I think they can go all the way. But you have to give huge credit to Gary Wright. I think he's been brilliant, and he'll go on to bigger and better things, but he's doing brilliant stuff at Birmingham at the moment.
And celebrating goals against former employers. Are you a fan, yes or no?
Only against certain clubs, but only against certain clubs if the fans didn't like me. But other than that, nah, I'm not about that. I respect most of my clubs if the fans were good. But if the fans give me some, then I'd definitely go and celebrate like that, but a bit over the top.
You've got to score the goal first.
Exactly. There you go. Okay.
More from Clinton and more from the Championship when we return, including a Russell Crowe update. I'll explain all in a couple of minutes' time.
Welcome back to Football League tonight. Now, going into the Friday night game, Blackburn was still looking for their first wing. And last week, Gary Bowyer was shocked to learn of the rumours of his sacking denied by the club. Well, this week, their competition was Bolton, and they were yet to win as well before the Friday night game. So did either of them break their duck, Adam?
No.
Right.
But both teams really had good chances to win this game, and Gary Bowyer, under pressure, playing against Bolton, you don't really want to be losing this chance. And Neil Lennon was absolutely distraught that this wasn't a penalty coming up first. I think the first challenge from Clough wasn't. Now, for me, that's a penalty. Davies running into the box. The referee's got a great view of that. You just see Conway here, just clips his left leg. And when you're running at that pace sometimes, it does come disrupt you a little bit when you're running. But Gary Bowyer will be delighted that he's got this man back on the pitch, Jordan Rhodes. And this is what he's all about. He rises well. This was a difficult chance for him. We're now going to see the second chance which he got, which I think was a better opportunity for him.
They're in such a difficult position with Rhodes because if they sell him, then they can lift their transfer embargo, but they want to keep him because they want to do well in the league.
Yeah, they lost Gusted in the summer to Aston Villa, and they certainly want to keep him. He was a quality player, and he was a big player for them last season. And this is why you have players on the post, Kelly, when you're defending from corners. Spur with a great header, opportunity afterwards, went wide, but Davies on the post there. He had a great game last night, the captain. And as we see here, he's running from midfield, creating the chances. And Emil Heskey here, I don't know if this is a bad miss or wonderful defending. I think you've really got to look at the defending.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I'm a defender, and I think it was brilliant defending there. And this is not brilliant defending from De Vet there. He's on a yellow card and not really going anywhere. You don't really need to make the challenge. It's the 94th minute. But I think Neil Lennon, over the course of the 90 minutes, will be pleased. But it was a big game for both managers because, as we know, they are both under pressure.
Are they really after just 5 games? How much pressure?
Well, being
and
a manager,
they know it. Look, but the hug between them, they know they're both under the cosh.
Yeah, I think they know if Bolton picked up a big win, then it would put pressure on Gary, and vice versa with Neil Lennon. So I think a draw over the game was a fair result. But manager's a precious job, Kelly, and that's why I like standing here.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to stand here and talk about it.
Now, lots of clubs in the Championship are desperate for a bit of stability at the moment. Leeds, like Blackburn, and Bolton, I suppose, definitely fall into that category. For the fans hoping that Russell Crowe would take over at Elland Road, well, I've got some bad news for you. The Oscar winner tweeted this week that he doesn't actually have time to take on the club, despite his love for Leeds. It was a pretty long list of tweets, this one probably gets to the point best of all. He just can't run the club, he says, from the other side of the world. Well, Leeds travelled to Derby today, who were the clear favourites, you would say here, despite the draw perhaps being the obvious option. Both Leeds and Derby went into this, having drawn all 4 of their games so far this season. Your commentary comes from Andy Hinchcliffe and Bill Leslie.
Byron. Zippy start from Leeds, it's Wood!
Oh, this would have been a sensational goal. It all starts with Lewis Cook dropping deep, making things happen. Really positive start from the away side.
Well, he's only 23, Chris Wood, but a look at his career statistics would tell you he's a confident striker as much as any. 2 in his last 2. By Moat. Well, he did rather stoop into that one, Keogh, but he's caught plenty, as you can see, on his forehead.
The ball comes over his shoulder. He clearly doesn't know where Richard Keogh is, just raises his foot instinctively, and clearly it's a foul. Caught on his head as well, but I don't think he's actually meaning to do that.
Well, it's good to see his bandages in Derby colours as well.
It's probably a FIFA regulation these days, isn't it? Taylor. Here's Mowat. Now Dallas. Leeds corner.
Well, Dallas is slightly fortunate. They needed to get his head up and actually drawn 2 Derby players to him. Just needed to release the pass. Charlie Taylor was following up behind him in acres of space.
Dallas in, Adeyemi! Tom Adeyemi opens his account for Leeds United. And Derby County's problem they've had all season of conceding the first goal continues.
Well, no more than Leeds United deserve here. Really a story this first half. Players making things happen. Other players just standing and watching. And Tom Adeyemi, look at his movement here. He's just drifting towards the far post. But he's on the move across George Thorne. He simply doesn't appreciate that he's there. You've got to open your body up if you're defending. It doesn't matter whether you're a midfielder back in there. You've got to defend properly. But was it a corner? It's possibly debatable. Does it come off Stuart Dallas? But once the corner's been given, Derby have to defend properly, and they didn't stay with their men.
Derby County looking for a change of intensity to get themselves back into this match. One of the pluses, they are just one down. Hendrick might put that right here, and but for an outstretched arm from Marco Silvestri, they would have been level.
Well, it looked a fabulous save, but I think the keeper has a good long look at this. But that's really a save he should make.
Already there's a marked increase in tempo from the home side. Martin, that'll do it! Just about 2 minutes, and Derby County level it up. They've raced out of the blocks, and they have their reward.
Well, it hardly happened in the first half. A decent ball, quality ball into the feet of Chris Martin, and he can make things happen. I think Liam Cooper expects him to shoot here with his right foot, and gambles, tries to block it, and he's actually turned inside out. That shows the ability that Chris Martin has, right foot and left foot, doesn't matter. On the edge of the penalty area, there's no chance for Silvestri to stop that. A whirlwind starts the second half from Derby.
Baird. Hansen. Oh, Hendrick, what a touch! The first touch, an absolute delight. The second one, couldn't find the bottom corner.
His first touch was exceptional. Should really have buried it.
Well, still looking for his first goal of the season to build on the back of last, which was his best goal-scoring season of his career. Oh, Russell making a good run behind and forcing a fine save from Silvestri.
Well, it's pedestrian defending from Leeds United. Johnny Russell is on his way. It's a looping ball Chris Martin's heading here. The defender should read what he's looking to do. Well, standing around waiting, Johnny Russell makes his move. Once again, it's a comfortable save.
Bamba. Still going, Bamba. And that's left a gap at the back that Weimann will be keen to exploit. Martin trying to make up ground as well, as is Ince. Weimann might not need him. He's appealing for handball, might well have come off a defender's arm.
Acres of space for Weimann, does the right thing. Liam Cooper, does he come off his back? Well, he's not even looking at the ball. Don't think you can give handball for that. He's just trying to get his body in the way.
Antonucci. Oh, what a ball! And what a moment that could be in the match. The goalkeeping at his mercy. No offside flag, and Wood puts it over.
I just think, does this touch the head of Jason Shackle? It's a great ball in from Antonucci. He can't see it clearly, Chris Wood. That's why he misses the target. Great chance, though.
3 minutes plus added time to go. Antonucci. Cook. Wood. Oh, Wood! What a goal from Chris Wood! He's done it again for Leeds United, only this time he looks like he has won it.
Well, he's hardly had a touch really in this second half, but that's 3 and 3 now for Chris Wood, and it's a brilliant finish. But I think it's made possible by his first touch. He actually kills it stone dead and he gets it out of his feet. And that encourages him to shoot first time, makes his move. Just watch this first touch out of his feet. Absolutely brilliant. He doesn't stop it, so it's caught underneath his feet. He gets it away from himself. So then he can just put his right foot through it, and the goalkeeper, absolutely no chance, and really smash and grab right at the death of Leeds United. A quite brilliant strike from Chris Wood.
As a striker, you always hope for that one more chance, no matter how late in the game it comes. But yeah, I was happy it came to me, and I was lucky at Winton.
4 draws and a loss is, unacceptable for us. For the objectives that we have. It's not a good start now. We're going to the international break very disappointed with the points tally that we've got in the league. That's 4 games out of the 5 now that we've gone behind. And teams shut up, and it's difficult to break them down. So we're to blame, and we have to do better.
So as you heard, both Derby and Leeds had drawn all 4 of their games going into that. Both big clubs, it makes them a massive pair of draws. But Leeds did manage to break. Leeds did manage to break their duck. They did manage to get the win, Adam.
They did. It was a wonderful strike from Chris Wood towards the end. They rode their luck in the second half a little bit, because I thought Derby played very, very well. But just at the moment for Paul Clement, it's not quite falling for him, is it? He knows that they've got 4 draws at the start. I think Will Hughes is a big loss for them when he got injured at the start of the season. But he's a new manager. He'll be learning all the time, and I'm sure this international break he'll go away and think.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, because their streak since the 24th of February last year only includes 2 wins in those 18 matches, and they were against Wigan and Blackpool. It's hard to know how much is down to Paul Clement and how much is a hangover from last season, despite all the changes.
Yeah, I mean, there are still a lot of players that started today that were part of the team that finished poorly last season, but Paul will know the signings that he has made need to start performing, and Martin scored today, which I think he'll be pleased with, because he was a big player for them last season. But they've got good quality players in their side. I can see them turning it around.
Right, 4 more games to catch up with now, starting with Brentford against Reading.
The first sight of Brentford's new pitch relayed to replace the sandpit they started the season with, and Reading found the surface to their liking. Nick Blackman with that ferocious effort against the bar, before Hal Robson-Kanu clipped in a cross that was perfect for Orlando Sarr. Some success in West London at last for a striker who 4 years ago was just beginning a fruitless spell at Fulham. Add to that Blackman's vicious free kick, and Reading were entitled to think their fortunes had finally turned, starting to take the chances that had gone begging in previous matches. Brentford, though, fought back from 2 down against Ipswich on the opening weekend, and Lasse Vibe came up with an eye-catching way to put them back in touch. It had been a better second half for the Bees, who were outplayed in the first, but they couldn't build on that bolt from the blue. In stoppage time, David Button's lunge at Blackman meant their fate was sealed. Tough on the keeper, who'd been arguably Brentford's man of the match. Blackman kept his cool to make the scoreline a fairer reflection of Reading's superiority.
In the build-up to this game, Russell Slade was forced to deny an issue between him and Kenwyne Jones. The striker's towering header and celebratory grin suggest that all is indeed well on that front. In fairness, Cardiff usually enjoy themselves in Nottingham, winning on 3 of their last 4 visits. Joe Mason's header secured this latest victory, also the unbeaten Bluebirds' 2nd league win of the season. Forest aren't firing, though, certainly not up front. As ever, Michail Antonio looked their greatest goal threat, but with bids from West Brom and West Ham already knocked back, Forest might have a problem hanging on to him. Antonio did pull one back for Forest here, the 29th goal he's had a hand in since the start of last season. The question for Forest fans is, will it be the last? Adam Reach's goal at Hillsborough was a sign that Middlesbrough were heading for better things. In a week where Aita Karanka's selection policy had been under severe scrutiny, Borough headed to a venue where they hadn't won in 6 years. And things looked bad in the second half when a dominant Wednesday levelled through Marco Matthias. His goal at Leeds last week was a thing of beauty. This one wasn't quite so handsome, but looked like preserving the Owls' unbeaten home record. Well, for all of 3 minutes anyway. Wednesday went for the win and were caught upfield. Borough broke and Diego Fabrini restored their lead. The 2nd goal of his loan spell from Watford. Then complaints about the manager's rotation policy were made to look pretty silly as the substitute Christian Stuani came on and scored his 3rd goal in 5 days, his 5th overall this season. And it might have been even better for Borough's bizarrely beleaguered manager Fellow sub Adam Forshaw would have made it for sure had the post not got in the way. It mattered not. A better week for Borough, who go into the break in good spirits.
Rotherham reckon their wage bill was just 1/12 of Fulham's last year, resources that make the Londoners attractive to the likes of Ben Pringle, who pounced when Moussa Dembele's header was saved to score after just 7 minutes against the club he left behind last summer. Pringle quickly becoming very much a former favourite, involved again as James Husband broke into the box and was unceremoniously stopped in his tracks by Greg Halford. Ross McCormack had the task of putting Fulham firmly on course for their first league win, and tucked away his third goal of the week after a successful night in Tuesday's League Cup victory over Sheffield United. But Rotherham players aren't the type to give up the ghost. After the break, another clumsy challenge in that box, this time Jazz Richards on Paul Green, handed the Millers away back into the match. Andy Lonergan ruined the moment for Matt Derbyshire, a miss which became all the more galling for the home side once Johnson Clark-Harris had curled a beauty past the keeper with 18 minutes to go. Still behind when they could have been level. Instead, Rotherham are now adrift at the bottom, albeit with the season in its infancy, as their opponents surged up the standings. Jamie O'Hara's fancy footwork freeing him to set up Cauley Woodrow to seal that first three-point haul that still eludes their hosts.
Right, so Brighton are 3 points clear now at the top of the table after beating Ipswich at Portman Road. They were one of 9 sides to win away from home in the Championship today. Hull are in second, they're on 10 points above Ipswich and QPR on goal difference. Cardiff and Middlesbrough both won. They complete the top 6.
Off to the other end of the table, where Rotherham are bottom. They have just 1 point and obviously yet to register a victory. Bolton, Huddersfield and Blackburn are also winless, as are Derby, who are 19th.
Time for a quick break. League One when we return, including a well-known manager climbing the leagues and making it all look rather easy.
Hello, welcome back. Now, you probably don't remember, but I told you at the top of the show that it was a good day for former strikers, and one of those was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink at Burton. In fact, Adam, it's more than just a good day for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink and Burton, because they're performing so well all season.
Oh, they've been absolutely superb, and they've taken the momentum on from winning League Two, going up into League One. He's taken 74 points out of 102. But I think he feels that he's probably got away with 3 points today, because I think Shrewsbury played very, very well today, and Nicky Mellon, the manager, they're struggling for goals at the moment, but they really started well. And this was Junior Brown again. He's hit the post first, and now he's going to hit it again here. He has an idea in his head already what he wants to do. He wants to take the shots on, take on the keeper. And on another day, they go in. But when you're at the bottom of the league and you can't find wins, you tend not to hit the back of the net. And this was the winner here. Comes out wide to Billen Williams. Cuts inside. You've got to show him down the line there. And here he is, Duffy, on loan from Birmingham. Getting a 90th minute winner. And for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink, I think he'd be delighted that his team's stuck in there.
It's always great to get a late winner, isn't it, as well?
Time to
but I mean, do you think that Burton will be reassessing their targets for the season, if indeed they made them at the beginning?
I think so, yeah. I think they've really got a good chance of at least making the playoffs. He's got into the club and it's just seemed to click for them, and I think they'll be strong contenders for playoffs this season.
Yeah, so all in all, a good week for Burton.
And a lovely week for Walsall fans. Top of the league, they've drawn Chelsea in round 3 of the Capital One Cup, and today they were at Blackpool.
Walsall fans must be pinching themselves as their fairy tale start to the season continues. Unbeaten and scoring goals for fun, with the vision of Jason Demetriou matched by the finishing of Romain Sawyers. That's his 3rd goal of the campaign. It's a very different tale for Blackpool fans who haven't seen their side win since the end of January. A little good fortune wouldn't go amiss, but Lady Luck turned her back as Tom Aldred faced the right way, only to see the ball end up in the wrong net. The Saddlers are the only League One side still standing in the League Cup after dispatching Brighton this week, and clinical finishing is clearly the secret of their success, as Sam Mantum helps himself to his 3rd goal of the month. For all their problems on and off the pitch, even the most die-hard Blackpool supporter would accept that there was more than a touch of star quality about Walsall's 4th. Sawyers with an absolute peach to leave the Tangerines still waiting for their first win of the season.
To win 6 games on the spin takes some doing, so it's a great achievement, but we want to keep going, and not rest. Lads are working really hard and getting the rewards for it at the moment.
The players are trying, of course they are, and they certainly didn't give up. But if you see the goals in the second half, one in the top corner, one a deflection, so it's all going against us, but we have to take it on the chin, and I certainly have to take it on the chin, get back on the training field and try and pick the confidence back up.
Most teams are finding Gillingham hard to resist. Peterborough had the crossbar to thank as Justin Edinburgh's men began to assert themselves in the closing stages. Luke Norris unfortunate with that effort, but Posh had been served a warning, and with just 5 minutes to go, Adedeji Oshalaja latched on to John Egan's header to finally end the deadlock. Gills overjoyed to be on the brink of a third successive league win, but they were denied that by one of those goals which looks dubious under the latest interpretation of the offside law. John Taylor on target after Ricardo Santos had lunged but failed to connect.
As it was, I thought both teams put in a real shift today, and for me, a 1-1 draw is probably a fair result, but I would have liked to have gone on and won it.
The last time these two sides met was the 5-5 thriller in the playoff semi-final second leg in May. Fast forward 3.5 months, and although a 10-goal epic was unlikely, Connor Salmon was certainly trying his best. Although Swindon have started the season well, it was the visitors who struck the first blow. Neil Collins' header wasn't pretty, but it was effective, and suddenly the blades were flying. Nigel Adkins' side have only conceded 1 goal since their opening day hammering at Gillingham, and Billy Sharp wrapped up another impressive display with his 2nd goal in successive matches as the Blades continue their march up the table. When you haven't won in the league since May, there's nothing like an early goal to calm the nerves, and that's what Doncaster produced, courtesy of James Coppinger's 17th minute header. Having scored the first, Coppinger then had a significant hand in the second. His energy and enthusiasm was followed by the assist from Andy Williams, and then the accuracy of Curtis Main, who celebrated his first goal since March. Fleetwood had arrived in South Yorkshire after successive victories in which they'd scored 8 times, but their Midas touch in front of goal deserted them, with Thorsten Stuckman denying Declan McManus a late opportunity of a consolation on a day that really belonged to Paul Dickoff's men.
Spare a thought for Millwall's fans. All 4 of their home matches in League and Cup this season have ended in defeat. This bouncing bomb from Jay O'Shea was a blow from which the Lions never recovered. Unless form at the Den picks up, an instant return to the Championship looks unlikely for Millwall, who were caught daydreaming for Chesterfield's 2nd. Gavoli Ariyibi, the only man playing to the whistle, and teeing up O'Shea for an injury-time clincher. It's 3 wins from 5 for Dean Saunders' men, and only 1 defeat. They're looking good for another crack at promotion.
A Lancashire derby between 2 clubs who so far had shared the points too often for their liking. So Oldham eyes lit up at this rare sight. Lee Croft on the score sheet. 70 games since the last time for the Latics in his 3rd separate spell with the club. Bury were yet to win in the league, but they'd always scored, so Oldham sensed they'd need another. And from Jonathan Fort's pass, defender James Wilson had glory in mind, which is where it stayed. While the skipper was still rueing the one that got away, he cut a static figure in the Latics backline, opened up by Danny Mayer before Danny Rose found Tom Pope. So both clubs were on their way to a 4th league draw from 5 games, though Croft, for one, clearly didn't fancy settling for that. A determined run, only to see Simona Stankovicius denied a debut goal by Rob Lainton.
Yeah, Walsall flying at the moment, aren't they? Really good performance. More from League One in a short while. Now, though, your chance to enter our competition.
Here's your chance to win tickets for you and 3 friends to watch a Sky Bet Football League match, a Football League kit of your choice, and an Apple iPad Air courtesy of Breathe Sport. All you have to do is tell us which club this ground belongs to. Is it 1 Peterborough United, 2 Bradford City, or 3 MK Dons? For your chance to win this great prize, text club and 1, 2 or 3 to 65515, or post your answer, name and phone number to Club PO Box 7557 Derby DE1 0NP. Entrance must be 18 or over. Date restrictions apply. Text costs £1.50 plus 1 message at standard network rates. Lines close at midday on the date shown on screen and 3 days later for postal entries. For rules, go to channel5.com/win. Right, we're going to have more from League One when we return.
Welcome back to Football League tonight. We'll crack on now with League One. Bradford City, they have sold a lot of season tickets but went into this weekend winless. They boosted their forward line yesterday with the signing of Devonte Cole from Manchester City. He's the son of former England striker Andrew, who never scored on his debut for any of his 13 clubs. Devonte had the chance to go one better against Port Vale.
With their unbeaten start to the season embellished by a draw with West Brom on Tuesday, Port Vale had a spring in their step, especially Uche Ikpeazu, whose acrobatics forced the best out of Ben Williams. Bradford needed a boost after a lacklustre month, and it came in the form of a debut for new signing Devonte Cole, who arrived this week from Manchester City and almost made an immediate impression. Phil Parkinson's side had developed a nasty habit of conceding second-half goals. All 9 scored against them have come after half-time, but this time they had the late last laugh. Cole with the 94th minute winner for the Bantams' first league win of the season.
Crewe look destined for another relegation battle. They're still without a win in any competition, and we're out of luck at the DW too. Indignant about an unpunished push by Wigan goal scorer Michael Jacobs. Braden Inman was unfortunate too. He couldn't have come much closer to firing a Crewe equaliser. Wigan have now picked up 7 points from an available 9 at home, where they've yet to concede a goal. Will Grigg almost added a second for the Latics, who seem to be finding their feet at League One level.
Scunthorpe striker Kevin Van Veen hasn't scored many goals of late. Indeed, his last came back in March, but what they lack in regularity, they certainly make up for in quality. Away wins are just as rare for Scunthorpe, who haven't won on their travels since the end of January. So when Paddy Madden pierced a static Colchester defence to score his 4th of the season, that statistic looked like it was living on borrowed time. Colchester responded with a goal that owed much to referee Dean Whitestone. It was his decision to play the advantage when Gavin Massey was poleaxed, which allowed George Moncur to pick his spot for his first goal of the season. And that was game on. And then honours even when the home side guaranteed a hard-earned point. George Elokobi, the unlikely hero, with his first goal for the U's since his first spell at the club back in 2007.
Barnsley have enjoyed their recent league trips to Scotland, not losing in their previous 5 visits, but this was to be a very different occasion. From the moment Calvin Andrew gave Rochdale the lead with just 8 minutes played, that impressive record looked in serious jeopardy. By half-time, Rochdale had doubled the lead as Donald McDermott's corner was met by Peter Vicenti, and he scored for the first time this season. And an excellent afternoon for Rochdale manager Keith Hill against his former club was completed thanks to a 3rd goal which owed much to the work of Jamie Allen. He won the ball and then found a clever pass for Ian Henderson. Barnsley's 3-match unbeaten run is over. Rochdale are up to 5th in the table.
A proud day for Andrew Cole and Dean Windass. Walsall then top of the League One table for the first time in a decade, actually. Their victory at Blackpool was their 4th league win in a row. Sheffield United and Burton, who both won today, are just a point further back. Gillingham's draw with Peterborough sees them drop to 4th, while Rochdale and Chesterfield make up the rest of the top 6 after both won today. At the wrong end of the table, Blackpool's difficult start to the season, well, it gets even more tricky, doesn't it? A 4-0 home loss to Walsall today. They have 1 point from 5 games. Crewe, Southend, Shrewsbury and Colchester also remain winless. Further up the table, Bury are looking for their first win of the season as well after drawing 4 of their first 5 games. Millwall and Peterborough also have 4 points.
Time now to turn our attention to League Two with Clinton Morrison. First, though, Clinton, you've been playing for Exeter. You thought maybe at the end of last season that you weren't going to be asked back. You were, but it was just a 5-week contract. So where are you now in terms of your negotiations?
Yeah, he said he wanted me to come back and train, and obviously he's been contacting me all pre-season. I didn't know if I wanted to carry on playing football, but since I went back there, did the pre-season, because I tried to miss pre-season, don't tell you. Well, I've just told everyone, but I try and miss it because it's too much running. But I did the last 2 weeks, and yeah, I've signed till, well, my last game was today against Wimbledon, so to see what happens, but I think there might be good news coming very soon. Really? For Exeter fans.
We will watch this space.
Yeah.
However, not such good news on the pitch today. Exeter at Wimbledon and lost by 2 goals to 1. Well, how do you think they got the upper hand?
They were just physical. The manager said after they were a physical team. They were good on set pieces, and we didn't really compete with them. We're a footballing team. We didn't get the ball down and play. We basically done what they did. That was a good clearance from Matt Oakley, but big Akinfenwa winning his headers, and that's what they did. They flung the ball in, took a lot of long throws, and this is how they scored. Frankham scores, but no one tracks him. None of our players track him, and that's how it is in that league. Route one, and that's how they go, and that's it. Route one, and that's how they played the most of the game.
But you did manage to get back into the game. You're not on just yet.
No, this shows our quality. Matt Oakley plays it, and it's great. Will Hoskins has a great flick, and Ryan Harley has great feet and a great finish, and that's the way we try to play football. And the manager always says, try pass and pass. And I think this was a good play by Holmesy. He gets a good ball, and he says, I think Troy fouls the defender, but I'm not having that. I think the ref didn't have his glasses on.
Yeah, it's hard to see when you've only got one camera to try and have a closer look at it, but it certainly looks like there's not too much in it. But yeah, then they managed to go on and get the win. We just saw you at the back there. Yellow boots, easy to spot, and annoyed.
And annoyed because we lost the ball in a silly area there, and obviously we should have kept him out and defended it a bit better. You can't leave the striker to have a free header, but it's one of those things. It was a bad day at the office, but we've had a decent start. It's a good, as I said, it's a good football club. I'm enjoying myself, and I think we got a chance of finishing in the playoffs this season.
And you said there may well be some good news on its way.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, sounds like Clinton staying put, doesn't it? We'll get it out of him by the end of the show, I'm sure. More League Two when we return, as we take a look at the only side in the Football League with a perfect record. Tonight, the Exeter striker Clinton Morrison is still with us. I think we're still friends, yeah?
Yeah, just about, mate.
Adam Berger, the former Brighton defender, here as always as well. Guys, you've been watching the League Two pace setters today. Leyton Orient against Bristol Rovers. How did they get on?
Well, it was an interesting game today, George, because Bristol Rovers were unbeaten in 21 away games, which is a phenomenal record for Darryl Clark's side. And they had the better of the chances early on. Chris Lyons breaking out. And Ellis Harrison, I think, is really come into form now. I said he's probably learnt a lot of lessons playing in the National League and had a troublesome start when I was down there. It was difficult sometimes, but I think he's sort of grown up a little bit now and he's showing his true qualities. But Clinton, do you think this is a penalty? This was a good cross-in.
It's a bit harsh, but if I'm the striker, yeah, I'm going to go down like that because I think he's felt a bit of contact on his back. And you know when you go to back in, obviously you're a defender. Yeah. If you feel a bit of contact, you're going to go down.
He knew where the defender was.
So he knew where he was. It was clever. It's a bit harsh. If it was given against my team, I'd be having a right go at the ref. But
it's Lloyd James there, the captain, that puts it away. And Leyton Orient have been so strong since they've been relegated. And this was another quality goal, wasn't it, from Simpson?
It's a great goal, proper striker's goal. Jay Simpson's a good player. It's a composed finish. The touch made it. And then he's chopped the defender, and it was a great side foot finish, but he's a good player.
And this was another shot from Simpson towards the end. And Leyton Orient, I think, have really started the season strongly, and Ian Hendon's got the side playing very well. And this is a quality save. And I think over the course of the game, I think Leyton Orient deserved the 3 points. But you play them next week, Clinton. How do you think you'll do?
Yeah, it'll be a difficult game. They're unbeaten. They've took maximum points this season. But we fancy anyone when we play at our ground. It'll be a good passing game. They've got a lot of talented players, obviously Cox and Jay Simpson. So it'll be a good game, but we fancy ourselves and hopefully we can break their unbeaten record.
It seems a tough League Two. Who do you fancy to be near the top?
Well, I fancy Portsmouth. I fancy Leyton Orient. I think Cambridge will be there or thereabouts. There's a lot, even Luton. I know Luton are near the bottom, but I still fancy them. They've got a good chance.
Wickham can still keep that run going?
Who, Wickham?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wickham can, I think, and they've got a good manager. Ainsworth's done a great job there and on limited budget. But, yeah, I think Wickham could be there or thereabouts, but I think Exeter will be there or thereabouts. Exactly, I don't know if Plymouth will, though. No.
And by the sounds of what you're saying to Kelly, you're going to be playing in that game against Orient next week?
Yeah, well, I hope so. If I can have a good week training, hopefully I can get in the starting 11. That's fingers crossed.
So you are staying then?
Well, I don't know yet, do I? You're not getting out of me that easy. I'll just have a good week's training by myself and see where we go from there.
All right, then. Kelly.
Right, let's see some of the sides that Clinton mentioned there. Perhaps the biggest upset in the Capital One Cup this week was Carlisle beating QPR. It was all the more impressive as they hadn't even managed a win in the league this season. They tried to change that today at Hartlepool.
The midweek cup win at Loftus Road was undoubtedly a huge lift for Carlisle, but they knew an away victory in the league would be just as significant for the season ahead. They had a poor start at Hartlepool, who took the lead through Scott Harrison, and almost added a second when Rakesh Bingham's excellent footwork gave him the space to shoot against the post half an hour into the game. Carlisle's prospects didn't look too good, but they do have a goal scorer in top form this season, and sure enough, Jabu Ebire got them back into the game. After a bright start to the season, Hartlepool had lost back-to-back matches in League and Cup, so there was a sense of relief when Jason Kennedy's foul on Scott Fenwick gave Billy Painter the chance to restore their lead with a penalty against his former club. But Carlisle weren't beaten. They equalised through Tom Miller with 15 minutes left, and a draw seemed like a decent result on the road. It was about to get even better. Ibire's second of the game and 9th of the season already was the perfect end to a fantastic week for Carlisle.
Luton were desperately unlucky not to knock Stoke City out of the Capital One Cup on Tuesday, and their misfortune continued in front of a healthy 9,000 gate at Kenilworth Road. Luke Wilkinson could only clear straight into teammate Scott Cuthbert, and Gareth Evans gladly picked up the pieces. Josh McCoyd's turn of pace and close control then drew a clumsy challenge from Nigel Atangana in the penalty area as Luton felt their way back into the game. Craig McHale-Smith then demonstrated the cool head that persuaded Brighton to part with around £3 million 4 years ago, his second goal in a Luton shirt. There was little between the two until two Pompey substitutes combined for a last-minute winner. There was no defence to speak of as Connor Chaplin wriggled through. His shot was well saved, but Matt Tubbs's wasn't. Another late nightmare at Kenilworth Road after Luton had conceded in stoppage time in both their previous home league games.
After finding their scoring touch in a 3-3 draw with Portsmouth last weekend, Morecambe were intent on proving it was no flash in the pan against Notts County. So Alan Goodall's terrific finish midway through the first half was just what manager Jim Bentley wanted. Notts County responded well, though, with John Stead hitting the post before Gennaro Schneiders came up with the equaliser just before the break. This spectacular volley means he's now scored in successive games in League and Cup. It remained pretty even in the second half, but it was the home side who took the lead with yet another eye-catching goal, this time from Paul Mullin, and Morecambe were heading for their second league win of the season. It began to look like a more emphatic result when Alex Kenyon got the third with 2 minutes left. The result helped Morecambe climb 5 places up the league table into the top 10. And when Jamie Devitt finished things off in the final minute, they'd forgotten about their meagre return of just 1 goal in their first 3 league games. Now they can point to a far more impressive total of 7 in their last 2.
Both goalkeepers stole the show in the first Football League meeting between these two sides. Newcastle loanee Freddie Woodman was the first to shine, keeping out Gary Thompson and then Aaron Amadi-Holloway. Then, after his 2 goals last week, Rory Deacon had the chance to be the Crawley hero once again, but Matt Ingram did enough to safeguard Wycombe's unbeaten start and a well-earned 4th clean sheet in 5 games.
Plymouth are enjoying their best start for 13 years thanks to a 3rd successive league win, which came courtesy of Graham Carey's first half goal, his 4th of the season. Newport have now slipped to the foot of the table, and they're still looking for their first victory under Terry Butcher's management. They played their part at home park, with Zach Answer hitting the crossbar in the 87th minute. But Carey did the same for the home side just a couple of minutes later, and Butcher admitted his team were nowhere near good enough to deserve anything from the match.
Clinton, we saw a couple more goals there from Jabo Iberi. I think that's 9 in all competitions, 7 in the league. He's the Football League's top scorer already. You've played with him.
Yeah, he's a good striker. He's a handful. Obviously, maybe he hasn't scored as much goals as he wanted to in his career, but this season he's been on fire, and he's a good player. He holds the ball up, brings people in, and I'm pleased for him because he deserves it. He works hard on his game in training, and he deserves the rewards. And to score 9 goals already at the start, only at the end of August, he could even have a 2-month break and still come back and still be the top goal scorer. But fair play to him. He's a good striker.
But as a striker, when you start the season well, does it make it easier?
Yeah, it makes it easier. I think he scored a hat-trick. He scored 2 today. If you start like that, you just feel like every time you go on that football pitch, you're going to score goals, and he's done well. He's natural goal scorer, and I think he could end up with 20 goals. If you score 9 this early in the season, every time he probably goes into that football pitch now, he thinks he's going to score goals and his confidence will be sky high. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, we're going to have the rest of League 2 when we return, and we'll take a look back at all the headlines of the day.
Welcome back. Let's get on with the action. 5 more matches to catch up on now, starting at the Wham Stadium.
15 goals were scored in the 2 meetings between these sides last season, but it was an altogether more sedate affair here. Adam Buxton's free kick crashing against the bar was the first real highlight of the afternoon. The Cobblers have fond memories of the Wham Stadium after handing out a 5-1 thumping there in January. Chief tormentor that afternoon was Mark Richards with 2 goals, and he added to his own personal Wham catalogue here with a beautifully judged finish. Compete physically was the message from Cobblers boss Chris Wilder before the game, but David Buchanan took the message from his manager a little too literally when he tripped Josh Windass in the penalty area. Windass himself converted without too much trouble. 1-1 the final score.
Dagenham's search for a first league victory of the season seemed to be over when Ashley Hemmings expertly made space on the edge of the Stevenage penalty area and then came up with a finish to match. A day after celebrating his 40th birthday, Daggers striker Jamie Curitan was hoping for a fitting goal-scoring celebration in East London. But it was to be a frustrating afternoon for him, denied by goalkeeper and defenders on more than one occasion. Even though he drew a blank, though, his team seemed to have just done enough to win the game. But a few weeks into his management career, Teddy Sheringham's already making some good decisions. He sent on Tom Hitchcock in the 68th minute, and 6 minutes later, the substitute equalised.
A valuable experience was how Richard Money rather diplomatically described their 3-0 loss to Crawley last weekend, but Cambridge started brightly at the Hive. Jordan Slew with the early sight of goal. Last season's conference champions have found it much tougher going on their return to the Football League, but Barnet were really unlucky not to go ahead when first Michael Gash saw Liam Hughes clear his header off the line before Curtis Weston crashed against the bar. Another Elliot Johnson corner then saw Birat Dembele suffer the same fate. Cambridge by far the happier of the two to settle for a point.
Oxford were one of 4 teams in the division who went into the weekend unbeaten, and they were on course to maintain their encouraging start when Danny Hilton headed in his 4th goal of the season in League and Cup, despite some desperate goal line defending. But while they climb the table, their opponents are suffering from a worrying away record. They've now lost 8 of their last 9 games on the road, and they conceded a second 15 minutes from time. Hilton heavily involved again, Callum O'Dowd finishing. The one minor surprise at the Kassam Stadium that Kemar Ruth didn't get on the score sheet. He's been among the division's most impressive performers this season, and he did come agonisingly close to making it 9 goals in his last 9 games. It finished 2-0 Oxford, they're 5th in the table.
Russ Wilcox gave his squad 2 days off this week after back-to-back marathon road trips to Exeter, then Swansea, and it looked to have done the trick as York set the pace against Mansfield, Reece Thompson guiding in a Luke Summerfield free kick. But not long after, a moment to savour for Mansfield striker Matt Green. Out for 16 months with a knee injury while at Birmingham, this was his first league goal since August 2013. Stags fans know that Green's 25 goals fired them to the conference title 2 years ago, and it was like he'd never been away as Craig Westcar put him through. A step over or two later, Green's fine finish was too good for York keeper Scott Flinders. It capped a memorable afternoon for him, and it proved the winner for Mansfield.
So let's take a look at the table then. And Leyton Orient, the only team in the Sky Bet Football League with a 100% record. They made it 5 wins from 5 with their win against Bristol Rovers this afternoon. Plymouth's win took them to 2nd place on 12 points, and they're followed by Wycombe, Portsmouth and Oxford United, all of whom remain unbeaten.
Propping up the Football League, it's Terry Butcher's Newport County with 1 point from their opening 5 games. Dagenham and Redbridge are off the bottom, courtesy of that home draw against Stevenage. Luton, Yeovil, Notts County and York all lost today. Carlisle United recorded their first win of the season at Hartlepool, and they move up to 16th.
Well, get ready for the mad rush that is transfer deadline day on Tuesday. The checkbooks will be out. But where will the money be going? Well, Peterborough's Barry Fry wants some of it. He's told tomorrow's Football League paper that winger Marcus Maddison is being watched by 4 Premier League clubs, and Barry rates him at £2 million. We will be watching that.
And we will be here as well next week. 9 o'clock as usual. It is International Week, and there are no Sky Bet Championship matches. But by popular demand, we will have a show featuring every game in Leagues 1 and 2.
Well, that's it for tonight, though. And at the end of the day...
Kyle's going down, but his Brighton team are on the up to the top of the Championship thanks to a victory at Ipswich.
Walsall lead the way in League 1 as they put 4 past Blackpool.
And it's thumbs up from Orient manager Ian Hendon. They're still 100% top of League 2 with 5 wins out of 5.
So, Clinton, you're saying you think that Exeter are going to be in amongst it at the end of the season in League Two?
Yeah, I definitely think that.
And will you be there?
Fingers crossed.
We're just not going to get that out, to be honest.
Exactly.
Listen, Clinton, thank you very much for coming in to
Thanks
join
for
us on
having me.
Football League tonight. As always, big thanks to Adam Virgo. We will be back next week. It is the international break, but we'll be here on Football League tonight. So from all of us, a very good night, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.